Today is December 1st, and you know what that means. The Iowa caucuses are just 2 months away. The presidential candidates know there's little time left to sway voters, and the battles between them are intensifying. It's getting exciting. First up, Marco Rubio versus Ted Cruz, squaring off on the issues of surveillance and national security.
There are Republicans, including Senator Cruz, that have voted to weaken those programs. That's just a part of the record. It's nothing personal.
A PAC that is supporting Marco Rubio is putting about $200,000 in running an attack ad in the state of Iowa right now, going after me on national security. The reason that Rubio's allies have resorted to false attack ads is they are very, very nervous about our surge in the polls, about the fact that conservatives are uniting behind our campaign.
All right, the gloves are off. Cruz versus Rubio. How do you call the fight? Bowling?
Well, it looks like Ben Carson, over the last couple of maybe 8 days, if you go to Real Clear Politics, they have nice graphs on each candidacy. Ben Carson seems to have slipped, I don't know, somewhere around 8%, 7 or 8% over that period. And it looks like Cruz and Rubio have picked up some, Trump a little bit, but Cruz and Rubio have benefited the most from it. So they're going to go head to head. And I think they're very well liked. Both of them are very, if you're not a Trump person, I think a lot of people right now are saying it's going to be either Cruz or Rubio, both doing very well, both doing great in debates too. So December 15th is the next debate. We'll see how that plays out.
So Carson's on like life alert. He's like, calling life alert. I've slipped, I've fallen, and I can't get up.
But he's a surgeon, so he can operate on himself.
That would be convenient. Yeah.
I think that the substance of the sound bites that you played is really interesting debate for Republicans on national security, because I think Ted Cruz tries to play it that he's on the side of the people. Okay, and that he's trying to paint Marco Rubio as a crazy neocon, when actually I think there's a lot of Republicans who think, okay, I actually dislike what President Obama's been doing. I can't quite get to where Rand Paul is, and I'm more comfortable where Marco Rubio is. And so I think that debate within the Republican Party in a broader sense, having these two hash it out is pretty interesting to me.
It is. I like it too.
No, it is the most important conversation that we can have right now in the age of ISIS, where we just did a whole block on this climate stuff. National security is the only thing that matters. When something happens in terror, everything else falls off the newspaper, and especially since the metadata gathering expired Saturday, right? That's no more. That was 2 weeks after the Paris attacks. That's like throwing away a flashlight during a blackout.
Terrible.
We need these tools. We need these tools, and evidence shows that the chatter went dark after Snowden's leak. I know this is going to be fixed, probably in the next election, but something could happen.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is how Rubio has evolved. Rubio has become far more hawkish in the course of this campaign. Yeah. And it's interesting that he now goes after Cruz, who I always think of as very conservative, but he goes after Cruz as having weakened national security, not only in terms of votes on military budgets, but even on the point that you were raising, Greg, which is about surveillance and the right of the government to get involved and to, peek into violate some civil liberties, arguably, but to peek into emails and the like encryptions. So when I look at Rubio, I see Rubio as feeling he's got to occupy a space with the conservatives that he thinks Cruz is in right now. And he's the one I think is on the offensive. I'm not sure I agree with what you said about the fact that where Carson loses, evangelicals, the only gains go to...
I didn't say evangelicals. I'm simply saying that since he's had a tough time with foreign policy over the last 8 days, he had a bunch of stumbles. His numbers were dropping, and the support seems to be being picked up by both Cruz and Rubio.
And not Trump.
Well, a little Trump, yeah. Trump's up a few points, but the majority of what Carson lost went to Cruz and Rubio.
They're still far behind.
And I guess it's in Rubio's benefit to draw that, to highlight where, kind of paint Cruz in that corner of the NSA, of the Fourth Amendment issue that he took a stand on, and he's going to have to support.
Well, he says he puts Cruz in the same category as the ACLU.
Well, he puts him with Rand Paul as well.
Yeah, but maybe that's what he needs to do if you want to pull ahead. Right now, they're really close in the polls. So if you want to say, hey, look, I'm the guy that's really strong on national security and foreign policy, I'm not going to be like the other team, I'd say that too all day long. I'd be running with it.
Although there is debate on whether or not. I mean, the metadata is still collected. It's just not automatically collected.
Yes, because guess what? They don't care about Greg's weird cat videos. They don't care. They're interested in nice.
They're not weird. They're tasteful.
Interesting. Big following. And in another 2016 showdown, it's Christie versus Donald Trump. The governor has taken on Trump for declaring there were Muslims celebrating in New Jersey after 9/11, and Trump, of course, has fired back.
He was very weak the other day. So the other day he said it like, well, he doesn't know. And now I guess he feels a little bit emboldened. He must be careful with what he says.
Being warned by Donald Trump to be careful what I say is fascinating. I don't think Donald often picks his words with great care. So listen, I was there on September 11th. I wasn't across the river in New York City. I was there. And not only myself, but the state attorney general at the time, John Farmer, good, smart, Republican, has said the same thing that I've said, that it didn't happen.
Fascinating. That was a good one. Dana.
Well, I thought it was interesting that it took Christie this long to actually push back against Trump's claims about New Jersey, because on that very first day, but then the next morning after those comments, it was sort of like, oh, well, yeah, I don't really recall that. And I was surprised. I thought, wow, I would have been a little bit stronger in defending my state if you were there. And I mean, he was obviously a part of it, as a part of the soon to be a part of the Attorney General's office. So to me, I thought that it was a little late in coming, not surprising. But I also think that Christie, in a lot of ways, was pulled back there. He could have been stronger. But to the point we've said over and over again, to what benefit does that get you? I mean, Christie's had some really strong days. He's done much better in New Hampshire. We're getting an endorsement of a major paper is a big deal. Even though he has been way down in the polls, I think that you can't discount the fact that some people are like, well, maybe we should take another look at him. And George Will column was really important.
In the beginning to really.
And so, I think that he's got a little bit of momentum. He doesn't need to do anything to screw that up before the debate on December 15th.
Yeah. All right. So because somebody's followers today could be yours the next day, so you don't want to alienate. Okay, Greg, what do you have to offer us? Anything?
Nothing really. No, I think this whole debate about the thousands and thousands of celebrating Muslims in Patterson could be solved simply with Donald Trump offering a reward for physical documentation of the celebrations. He should offer $100,000.
Like the birth certificate?
Yeah, just say for $100,000 for photos of the thousands and thousands of people celebrating, not the tailgate. Not the tailgate on a rooftop. A lot of people claim they saw it. When pressed, it comes to, somebody else might have seen it. No, I saw it, but I saw it on TV. Well, that was Pakistan. That wasn't Patterson. So it smacks of a natural human conflation of memories. And we do this all the time. We get confused. It's urban legend.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem to suffer as a result.
No, it doesn't, because people want to believe.
So I remember this day, and I was stood on the New York side. I watched the plane fly into the tower. I remember the next day, and I remember the news reports, and I remember specifically the news reports about Jersey City. They said people were on the roofs watching the planes fly in. They were tipped off prior to the thing, and this was a narrative that was going on. I remember video. I don't remember if it was Pakistan or Patterson.
It was Pakistan.
But there was also a lot of talk. Now, the reason why I know this is because I was in the building in 1993 when it was blown up by Sheikh Omar Abdel Rahman, who was the blind sheikh who devised the plan to blow up the World Trade Center in 93. It didn't work, but he was a Jersey City imam, and I remember there were claims that his group, his whole mosque, was cheering the planes actually finally doing what he tried to do in 1993. Whether or not it was 1,000, thousands, a few hundred, a handful, who cares?
Oh, I care.
I care.
What if Bernie Sanders said there were thousands of pro-lifers cheering the Colorado shooting? Everybody at Fox would go, show me the proof.
It doesn't
Show me
really
the
matter
money.
to me, because I know there were Muslims and Muslim groups who were happy that the World Trade Center came down, and they were in the United States.
It's fair to say
when
if
that
it's
happened.
thousands or a group of people on a building. You have to be specific. Sounded like Trump. I just don't get
listen,
it.
Greg, I don't know if it was a group of people in the building. It was a whole mosque. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know if it was thousands, but none of us do.
I'm sure there were people that were happy, just like people are happy about ISIS.
If it had been thousands of Muslim Americans cheering, there would be proof of that, evidence of that.
You know what?
Once again, the candidate puts his defenders in a position of sounding ridiculous.
But you know what strikes me about this whole conversation
that wasn't
is that
meant to me, right?
Everybody doesn't say,
large.
"Oh, Trump is wrong." No, Trump just go up,
It's not ridiculous. I remember these news stories. I remember hearing about it. Not only Patterson, but like I said, Jersey City, maybe other places in the country as well. I'm not defending.
There's no physical
this.
evidence.
I'm simply saying.
That's why I say a bounty would be good.
No one knows for sure. And who cares if it's 1,000 or a handful?
I care when a politician says he saw it with his own eyes, thousands. He was probably mistaken. He saw thousands. I know, but the point is, if somebody's lying, you got to call them out. That's what we're here for.
But there's no physical proof of unicorns, and you still believe in them.
That is true.
How
dare you bring up unicorns?
Hillary Clinton seems pretty comfortable with President Obama's ISIS strategy, but that wasn't always the case. You remember? So who should we believe? Hillary then or Hillary now?